I'm the Reverend Sasha Ostrom, the minister here at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and it is wonderful to be with all of you once more as we gather together for worship, for lifting up that which is of worth in this great common life we all share together. And as we settle in for the hour, let's go ahead and pause and center our minds and hearts now for this month's theme of cultivating compassion. And we begin with words by the Reverend Erica Hewitt. Some of us are bringing our best selves to this space, and some of us are bringing our struggling selves, including pieces we might be ashamed of. All of us are welcome here, and all of us are loved. Some of us already have open hearts, and some of us aren't quite there yet because our hearts have gotten a little beat up this week, and we might have forgotten how to trust and open. Your heart is welcome here, no matter how bruised. We welcome you among us. All of us are imperfect, but we are here to drop our defenses and trust that what happens in worship is powerful and life-giving. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than when we woke up this morning. We welcome you here. So come, my friends, and let's worship together.
It's so great to have a tall minister when I get shorter every year. Good morning, I'm Kathy Cacavalli, one of your worship associates. Shall we light our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalist tradition? Perhaps a volunteer would like to come forward to light our chalice flame this morning. Oh, there we have one with a lovely face. It matches your dress. So Reverend Sasha is going to help you. Our chalice lighting words today are by Monica Clark Robinson. Love is the doctrine of this church. Many UU congregations begin services with this phrase, and it's a worthy principle. We use a variation here in our own community. Love is the spirit of this fellowship. But can we go further? Can we try? There's a word I invite you to contemplate this morning, agape. Agape love. A radical, quiet, boundless, unconditional love. Agape love is the love we have for God, the universe, the interconnected web, for whatever words for spirit make your soul sing. Agape is also the love Spirit has for us. And if we can find God in the face of everyone we see, we can have agape love for others. And even for ourselves. Then we'll understand that our worth does not depend on how many Valentines we got, or if our girlfriend thinks we're cute, or if our mother said, I love you often enough. Can we let everything that isn't capital L love fall away just for a while? And try, as the song says, to hold the whole world in our hands. Can we love ourselves enough to remember that we too are divine? Can we love ourselves enough to care deeply about what matters to them, even if we don't understand it? Can we love the world enough to give part of ourselves in sacrifice, in service to its wholeness? Can we love spirit enough to let it in when it comes knocking? As it is right now, in this moment, come in, love, and welcome. And now please stand as you're able for our affirmation by James Villa Blake. Please repeat each line after me, which helps our littlest UUs participate, even if they don't read yet. Love is the spirit of this fellowship.
Love is the spirit of this fellowship.
And service is its law.
And service is its law.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another.
And to help one another.
Thank you. And now let's stay standing for our opening hymn. If any junior worshiper helpers would like to join us up here to help lead our song, bring your gray hymnal, turn it to page number 346. Come sing a song with me. Do you want to? Come on. So good morning and welcome. Welcome especially to any newcomers, returning members of our community, and anyone who joined us online today. If you're tuning in live on YouTube or Facebook, please say hi in the chat or comments if you haven't already. We're delighted to have you with us. We're a community of many ages, but we all worship together. You can join us many ways on Sundays, including online, here in the sanctuary, or from one of many of the rooms in our building where we live stream the service. In particular, I want to draw your attention to our family room for families with little ones, which is located out our doors and to the right. The family room is especially great if you need a space to talk, to soothe a crying infant, or get the wiggles out. Our service is live streamed there, so you won't miss a thing. Kids of all ages are always welcome in our services, but we offer childcare as an additional option for families with small children ages 9 months to 5 years. Parents, if you find yourself in need of childcare at any point during worship today, please bring your little one to room A in our Gateway Center. Again, welcome to everyone here with us today. We're glad you're here.
So I have a story to share with us today, and I need to remind myself real quick of who the author is. So this story is called Many Threads Make a Blanket, and it is by the Reverend Tara Humphreys, and it's adapted a little bit for today. So this story doesn't take place like some of the stories we maybe hear in a far-off village somewhere. This story takes place in an apartment complex in a bustling city. Now I'm wondering real quick, how many people here have ever lived in an apartment complex or maybe live in one right now? And I live in one right now too, so we have lots of experience with this. So you may know then that in apartment complexes sometimes, it can be really hard to get to know your neighbors. There can be so many people there in the apartment complex, but people maybe don't get a chance to get to know each other. They maybe just pass by. Maybe they got earbuds in their ears as they walk by. Maybe they're looking at their cell phone as they walk past in the hallway. And so people don't really get to know their neighbors very well. Well, in this particular apartment complex, there was a couple that everybody knew. And that couple, their names were Sal and Lee. And Sal was always wearing a felt cap, and Lee was always greeting everybody, and so they would stop and they would know people by name. They knew the kids' birthdays. They knew everything that was going on all the way, even though they were all the way up on the 6th floor. They just kind of knew what was going on in everyone's lives. They loved everyone, and everyone loved them. Well, one day, somebody from the 2nd floor was walking, and he realized he hadn't seen Sal or Lee for a little while. And he kind of wandered over and thought about that a little bit, and finally knocked on the door. And Sal came to the door, and Sal looked very sad. And the man said, "Hey, I noticed I haven't seen you or Lee for quite a while now. What's going on? Are you okay?" And Sal shared that Lee had passed away. And so Sal was just not really feeling like being out and about. Sal was really having a hard time. Well, they talked for a little while, and then the man went away. But the man's heart was really opened up by Sal's sadness. And the man was thinking, I really want to do something nice for Sal because Sal has been so kind to everybody in this apartment complex. And so he thought for a little bit, and he thought, you know what? Some congregations do something when somebody is grieving. They make something called a grief blanket. And so Sal was picturing this beautiful woven grief blanket, and he had a loom in his apartment, and so he thought, I'll get some thread together, and I'll weave this grief blanket, and it'll be black like grief, and it'll be a beautiful blanket. But when Sal started digging around through his stuff, he realized he had no thread whatsoever. He had the loom, but he didn't have the materials to make a blanket. But he thought, you know what, there's a lot of people in this apartment complex, and I remember there's a young man who I always see down in the lobby, sitting there, sometimes just knitting as he waits for his ride in the morning on the way to work. And so he went down there and he caught up with that young man and he said, "Hey, I notice you're always weaving, and I'm thinking of making this grief blanket for Sal. Would you be willing to contribute maybe some yarn or some thread to help me weave this blanket?" And the young man said, "Well, I don't have black thread or yarn like you're hoping, but I have this beautiful yellow thread that I can give you." And so the man thanked him for that, and he took the yarn. And then the young man came after him and he said, "Hey, but also I know there's a family up on the 3rd floor, and that family, their daughter is always wearing the cutest little boiled wool shoes, clearly made at home. Maybe they'll have some wool for you to use." And so the man went up to the 3rd floor, knocked on the door, and spoke to his neighbor for a little while, and talked with the little one and her wool shoes. And sure enough, that young family, had some extra wool, and so they lent that. And they knew some other people who sewed and knit and crocheted and things like that in the apartment complex. And it didn't take very long after that before everyone who knew somebody else just kind of spread the word around. And the man was able to collect a whole bunch of materials to make a blanket. Now, this blanket was not anything like what he originally envisioned. This blanket was not black, and it was not this smooth, perfect blanket. It was kind of a patchwork of weaving and different materials and different colors. And it was lumpy in some places and a little crooked, but it was also beautiful, and he was proud of it. Well, when the blanket was finally done, he went over to Sal's door all the way up there on the 6th floor, and he knocked. And when Sal opened the door, the man gasped and quickly put the blanket behind him because he noticed that Sal was wearing a beautiful black grief blanket, maybe given to him by his congregation or another friend or something. And suddenly the man was a little bit embarrassed by the grief blanket that he had prepared. And so he looked at Sal, and Sal looked at him, and Sal kind of noticed something peeking out of behind the man's back and said, "Well, what is that you have there? What is that?" And so the man pulled the blanket out and held it up kind of sheepishly, and he said, "We all made you a blanket." And Sal said, "Wow, this is amazing, this is beautiful, but what do you mean all?" And Sal said, and the man said, "All of us, everybody in the apartment complex worked together to make this for you." And so in a congregation or a community, Sometimes when we are going through the difficult times of life, congregations tend to pitch in together. People share together in the work of offering compassion to those in a congregation who are in need. And sometimes it's not perfect. Sometimes it's like a patchwork of different abilities, different things people can be able to offer, but it all comes together to offer this beautiful blanket of care that we're able to give to people in their time of need. And so we're going to talk a little bit more later in the service about compassion, but if you're ever wondering, what is compassion, just think it is a blanket of comfort that we're able to offer people in their time of need, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it can sometimes be just what somebody needs. All right, we'll talk about that more later. Now I'm going to switch back over here. So it's time now for our milestones and passages. Sometimes we come to the sacred place with a lot in our hearts, perhaps like Sal in our story, you lost a loved one. Or maybe there's a joy in your life. Maybe there's a new baby, or perhaps you got a good grade on a report card, or maybe there's a birthday. And whatever your age and whatever the joys and sorrows of your own life, you can share them in our service by filling out our milestones and passages form before 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. That form can be found in our newsletter and on our website. And there are also paper copies of that form available as you walk in through our doors on the table that's on your right, kind of in this, what I call the airlock area in between the main doors. You know what I mean. Now, we have a milestone and passage to share today that has been submitted, and I ask that you respond afterward by saying we hold you in our hearts. And for those who are joining us online today, I invite you to respond in the chat or in the comments. This morning, Hazel Bell shares the following sorrow. She writes, "This past Wednesday, October 1st, my amazing mother, Phyllis Bell, died at the age of 104. Some of you may have had the pleasure of speaking with her and hearing her stories during a Rosh Hashanah service, Passover Seder, or service auction event. She lived a long, rich, loving life, and my family was blessed to have her spend her last years living with us. On Friday, at a graveside service, I said my final earthly goodbye to a woman who taught me that the world is wide, full of beauty, and meant to be explored. She gave me roots and wings, and she showed me how to live with strength and joy. Though she's no longer physically present, her legacy continues. We hold you in our hearts." Let's take a moment now for the prayers and meditations of our own hearts. This is a time to practice something we should maybe be doing a little bit each and every day. Go ahead and close your eyes. Let yourself kind of settle into your chair, get comfy there. Take a few moments just to focus on your breathing. Hear the breaths of the people here around you, this community that holds you. Feel the spirit of life holding all of us together in this still moment. And let's go ahead and take 3 deep breaths together and then a moment of quiet. Amen, and blessed be. And let's go ahead and please remain seated as we sing number 1012 together, When I Am Frightened, which you can find in your blue hymnal as well as up on our screen.
Quietly
Our reading today is Resistance Through Assistance by the Reverend Zeb Green. They are a minister, community organizer, and spiritual director living in Freeport, Maine, in the homelands of the Wabanaki people. Their work is geared towards assisting churches with their outreach and service to both the queer and refugee communities. Their piece is titled Resistance Through Assistance, and they begin with a quote from the Gospel of Matthew. "I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me." They go on to write, "When I lived in Texas between 2018 and 2023, I frequently went into Mexico to help people who had been deported from the U.S. I would help them get food, shelter, and transportation to somewhere remotely safe where they might still have family or friends. I can't overstate the fear and life-threatening danger those individuals experienced. That initial moment of entering a country they've been deported to is a horror. You're left in a random city in a country where you likely have no people and no support, without any identification, money, or resources. The cartels patrol those areas, looking for people to abduct, to kidnap, to hold ransom. We, the United States, do this to people who have lived quiet lives within our borders, people who are trying to put food on the table for their families. Those arguing for deportation use the language of laws and justice. Those who commit a crime must do time, we're told. But what's the appropriate amount of time for the crime of trying to survive? I can't think of any action heinous enough to justify the terrors this country exacts on undocumented people. Even as I volunteered during those years, I realized that I was underqualified. I speak Spanish poorly. I know very little about international law. On paper, I wasn't the best person to do the work. I always said I'd be happy to make connections for more qualified people. It didn't have to be me. But I wasn't going to stop doing it if other people didn't show up. It turns out that what I needed most was compassion, the ability to listen to people, and a willingness to do simple things like drive people to medical appointments, bring food to people, look after them. That skill set, offering compassion and concrete help in response to fear and disruptive power, is something that many of us can do. It is a profoundly simple thing to put love at the center. If resistance to injustice takes the form of offering assistance to those most in need, almost all of us can help our neighbors. They conclude with a prayer. Beloved Spirit, may we remember our shared humanity to all people. In remembrance, may our hearts be kindled to a deep love. May this love inspire us to reach beyond walls and barriers to provide care and to shield all our neighbors from hate and oppression. Amen, and blessed be. We come now to the time in our service each Sunday when we pause to give our gifts of financial support to this congregation. Your donations will make all that we do here together possible and also help make our wider community a better place. That's because each Sunday we give at least half of the money we collect to an organization that is doing work to advance our Unitarian Universalist values of love, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity in a world that hungers for them now more than ever. Today's offering will be split 50-50 with UU Faith Action New Jersey, our statewide advocacy network of Unitarian Universalist congregations working for justice, equity, and compassion right here in our state. You may give in our collection plate or by following the instructions in the order of service and shown on the screen. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
So I brought something with me here today. It is a box, but it's not just any box, it is a jewelry box. Now, there is some nice jewelry inside this box. There's also, though, some not so nice jewelry. Inside of this box, precious gifts from some of my loved ones mingle with cheap trinkets. And everything's in here all together, just sort of tangled up. Now, sometimes I think of the Bible as a little bit like this jewelry box. Inside of the Bible, we find a tangled assortment of texts. And the texts in the Bible come from different genres, different writers compose them, and they are products of different time periods. So in a way, the Bible resembles a library more than just a book. And some of the texts in that library mean a lot to us as Unitarian Universalists, and some we rightly reject. Now, like other literature that we Unitarian Universalists draw on for inspiration, ancient pearls of wisdom mingle in the Bible with outdated artifacts from past eras. There are some beautiful texts in there, absolutely beautiful texts about how to live a more compassionate life and create a more loving and just society. And there are also some really ugly texts in there, texts about hurting people and controlling them. And all of those texts in the Bible are together, tangled up like the jewelry in this box. Now, the jewelry in the box has some great stuff in it, and it would be nice to sort it out, sort the nice stuff from the not so great stuff, but jewelry boxes often have locks on them. And so in order to get into the box and get at the beautiful things inside and untangle them from the rest, we need to have a key to help us open the box. And it also helps to have a key to unlock the beautiful messages within Scripture and to sort them out from the rest. And the story of the Good Samaritan is one such key. In fact, Jesus used the story of the Good Samaritan to prove to the religious authorities of his time that he possessed the correct interpretive key to understand the Hebrew Bible. In several stories, the religious authorities of Jesus' time tested him by posing a very particular question. "Teacher," they asked, "what is the greatest commandment in the law?" Now, the people who were asking this question probably weren't hoping to gain wisdom by the answer. These were folks who already knew the answer. And so instead of trying to learn from Jesus, what they were doing was trying to see, does Jesus know how to interpret Scripture? And so when they asked him, "What is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love God with all of your heart, and with all of your soul and all of your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." The thing has got a little bit interesting in the story of the Good Samaritan, because Jesus, when Jesus once again said that we must love our neighbors as ourselves, the lawyer who was testing him decided to shake things up a little bit. And he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In other words, the lawyer wanted to know who he had to treat with compassion and who he didn't, who perhaps he even had permission to hate. So he needed a little bit of help turning that key. And so to answer his question, Jesus gave an example using the story of the Good Samaritan. And in it, he flipped the whole question of who is my neighbor on its head. The story shows that what's important isn't our neighbor's identity, but our own neighborly conduct. So you might remember the story. So robbers attacked a traveler and left him badly injured by the side of the road, and he needed help. Then along came two fine, upstanding members of society, and surely they would help. But when they saw him lying there by the side of the road, they just crossed on to the other side of the street and left him there alone. Then finally along came a third man, a Samaritan, a member of an ethnic group that at that time was widely disliked in ancient Israel. Now surely he had no reason to help, since people like the injured man mistreated the Samaritans, right? But when the Samaritan saw the injured man there by the side of the road, he stopped and he cared for him. And then he helped the man up onto his own donkey, and he brought him to an inn and paid for him to receive further help there. And this story, Jesus explained, shows not who your neighbor that you must love is, but what it means to be someone's neighbor. Being a neighbor means treating those we encounter on the road of life with compassion, treating everyone that we encounter on the road of life with compassion, not just those we consider most deserving of our care. Everyone, every last one. And the story isn't the only place where the Bible's message of love your neighbor as yourself shows up. The exact phrase, love your neighbor as yourself, appears in 7 different books of the Bible. And countless passages in both Jewish and Christian scriptures clarify what it means to love your neighbor as yourself. Those ancient texts teach that when it comes to loving your neighbors and ourselves, compassion is not just a feeling. It isn't just empathy that we feel for those who are hurting when we feel another person's pain. Instead, compassion is empathy in action. Compassion isn't just feeling sad when we notice an injured person on the street, but offering care to them. And ancient wisdom teaches us that one way to love our neighbors is by doing them no harm. That means, of course, not murdering, stealing from them, cheating them, or bad-mouthing people. And you can see why the Jewish scholar Hillel, when charged to explain the whole Torah while standing on one foot, said, "That which is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. This is the whole law. All the rest is commentary." But what does that have to do with us as Unitarian Universalists? So we're going to tackle that topic here soon, but first let's go ahead and pause now, as is our custom here, to sing before returning to our sermon. Our song is number 1013, Open My Heart, and Victoria is going to explain how we're going to approach this song today.
So this first time that we sing through it, we're going to sing it in unison, and we're going to sing it 2 times, and then when we sing it again, we'll have a little surprise.
That one today. So we don't often hear much about the Bible in Unitarian Universalist congregations, do we? And when we do, it isn't always the most comfy thing to hear about, is it? Because not all of us look to the Bible as a source of wisdom, and some of us have even been hurt by it. But here's the thing. Unitarian Universalism descends from 2 Christian faiths that drew wisdom from the Bible alongside other sources of wisdom. And those 2 traditions are the Unitarians and the Universalists. And through those traditions, we modern Unitarian Universalists inherited a particular understanding of love and compassion from Bible passages and stories that the Unitarians and the Universalists held dear. And this is especially true of our Universalist side of our heritage. For example, the 19th century Universalist minister Hosea Ballou taught that God is love. In his treatise on atonement, he often talked about an apostle, he meant Paul, who said that God is love. But what does that mean for us as Unitarian Universalists today? After all, we have Christian and Jewish folks among us, but also Buddhists and humanists and pagans. So do ideas like God being love and loving our neighbors as ourselves mean anything to those of us who maybe don't believe in God? I personally think that they can, but it hinges on how we understand the idea of God. And I know there are probably actually as many thoughts about God in this room as there are people in the seats. However, for a moment, I invite you to imagine God as simply that which gives life. Nothing supernatural right now, simply those things in the world, whatever those things in the world are that nurture life. And God then, for the sake of conversation right now, is life-giving power. We all arose from life itself the moment we first drew breath. We inherited life's abundance. It is our natural birthright as human beings. We are part of a great common life that includes all beings on this planet, from ants to humans to humpback whales. And life-giving processes move within us and through us and all around us, nurturing and healing us and making us vessels for nurturing and healing others. And when we understand the divine in this way as life itself, then loving God means seeking the well-being of life itself. And if God, if life itself is love, as our Universalist forebears believed, then loving God means acting with love to enlarge the great common life that we all share, to nurture life's abundance so that all beings who are part of the great common life may partake fully in that life. And when we do that, we actually become life's co-creator and champion. But what does that actually look like? Because even if we're not talking about a supernatural thing, we're kind of talking about an abstract thing right now, right? And that can be a little bit hard to wrap our minds around. So try to imagine it like this. Have you ever found yourself feeling safe during a difficult time because of somebody else's compassion? Or have you ever found yourself feeling comforted by somebody else during a painful time in your life? Maybe a neighbor offered you a grief blanket, like in our story earlier, or a casserole. Maybe a stranger helped you at a time when you were injured or sick, like in the Good Samaritan story. Or maybe somebody offered you some support and resources during a scary and uncertain time in your life, like in our reading earlier that Kathy shared. Maybe someone offered support and showed up for you with compassion. And when they did so, they offered you a life-giving presence when you needed it the most. That's what it means when God is life itself showing up for us through human beings. And that is the kind of love that I'm talking about. The kind of loving care is divine, even if it isn't supernatural. And divine love helps us to live our lives in more just and compassionate ways, showering care upon our fellow beings like rain upon thirsty seedlings. And because being shown compassion has this way of helping us learn to be more compassionate, then each act of care that we receive helps us to offer others compassion. It cultivates more compassion in the world, more love. And I like to imagine divine love as a great rushing river. Sometimes we drink from the water, and sometimes we pour out our love into the river so that it can nurture others, especially those who are most tired, most thirsty, and most in need of a soothing drink. And this love is inseparable from us and all creatures that are capable of love, because those feelings of empathy and those acts of compassion actually emerge from us. It's their way of coming into the world. But that is the Universalist side of our Unitarian Universalist heritage. So what about the other side of our heritage, the Unitarians? What did they have to say about compassion? And we're going to take a peek at that in a moment. But first, we're going to sing again, and Victoria's going to tell us what's up.
So this time we're going to be singing it in a round. So this half of the meeting hall will be singing first, and then this half will be coming in. So that half will be singing, "Open my heart." Then this half will start with, "Open my heart." And let's sing through it 3 whole times.
Let's rise and body your spirit.
Sounds good.
better at following instructions than I am. So the 19th century Unitarian minister, William Ellery Channing, once said that we are made in the likeness of God. And he wrote, "There is often a depth in human love which may be strictly called unfathomable. We see the tendency of the soul to the infinite." And he claimed that we may become partakers of the very mind from which it springs, of the prompting love. They had a very beautiful, flowery way of speaking back then. So if God is prompting love and we are made in the likeness of God, then we too are love. Or rather, we have the capacity to embody love through acts of compassion. And love itself prompts us to treat others around us with compassion. It nudges us and inspires us toward acts of loving care, especially for those who need it most. And sometimes compassion may feel like a warmth in our hearts that we feel toward those in pain, a warmth that leads us to extend care. And other times compassion may be more like what Gandhi referred to as soul force or love force. And soul force is a fierce outflowing of compassion through nonviolent confrontation with unjust systems that are hurting our neighbors. And we embody that kind of compassion by actively resisting injustice and whatever we find that diminishes life. So if God is love and we love God by loving compassion, and since compassion isn't just an emotion but a way of treating people with care, then when we love compassion, we do that by offering it to others. We let love rush into us as we receive compassion, and then we let it rush out of us as we offer compassion to others. It's like breathing in and out. And that is how we give life to the world. And in the Good Samaritan story, the question the lawyer asked Jesus about who counts as his neighbor comes from a place of spiritual stinginess. It doesn't come from a place of awareness of love's overflowing abundance. And when we ask questions like, who is my neighbor, instead of how can I best show my neighbor compassion, how can I best be a neighbor, we imply that there isn't enough compassion to go around. We imply that our compassion is scarce and it must be hoarded. We think, perhaps, I should protect my compassion. Maybe I should only care about and extend compassion to my next door neighbors or my own family. Maybe I should only love people of my own religion or my own country or my own political party. Maybe the only people who deserve compassion are legal immigrants. Maybe those are the ones who deserve care and kindness, not undocumented immigrants. Or replace immigrants with any other targeted group in our world who we've unfortunately been told that it is okay to mistreat. So with thinking like that, it becomes easy to draw an ever narrower circle around who we include in the embrace of our care. But remember what we heard during our chalice lighting, that agape love is expansive. It is big enough to hold us all. Now, we also, though, sometimes can spread our compassion very wide, but very thin. We may feel a sort of vague compassion toward the whole world in our hearts, but maybe we fail to act with compassion toward those who need it most. Now, there's a school of theology that offers a good spiritual remedy to this kind of weak, poorly directed compassion. So raise your hand if you have ever heard about something called liberation theology. Lots of people have. Good. So liberation theologians teach that God loves everyone, but God's power rushes first to those who are oppressed and seeks to liberate them from their oppression. And it teaches that those of us who love God should do likewise, that there is, after all, enough love to go around. We are finite beings, my friends, yet we are also powerful beings. Each of us is capable of partaking in a great collective outpouring of love in the form of compassion. Now, some people call that life-giving power God. Whether supernatural or an expression of the human spirit, love surrounds and fills us, fed by the tender care of those who extend it. So may love pour from us in compassionate works of our hearts and our hands. May we, like the Good Samaritan, take our compassion out to those who need it most, and may love guide us into a more just and compassionate tomorrow. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Let's go ahead and rise in body or spirit one more time, or we're going to complicate this round even more for funsies.
So we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to do the same thing that we did with the round, this half singing first, this half singing second, but we're going to do it without the piano. So a cappella. So don't be afraid to sing out. Ready, this side, ready, go. Open my heart,
Before we close, I'd like to draw your attention to our Minutes for Ministries. This is a time when we share brief updates about our congregation's activities to help us stay engaged with our community beyond our Sunday service. This morning, I'd like to draw your attention to the following announcements. Any newcomers with us today are invited to fill out a welcome card to help you get connected with us. The card can be found on the welcome table in our foyer. You can also talk to our welcome ambassador, who would love to meet you and answer any questions. Look for the sunny gold sash. Anyone needing a caring presence this morning will find a compassionate listening ear with one of our lay pastoral care associates. You'll recognize them by their sky blue sashes. Will today's welcome ambassador and lay pastoral care associate please stand or wave so we can see you? Okay, I don't see a blue sash. Oh, there's our blue sash, without the sash, but you can find her. This upcoming week, join us for some of our great groups, activities, and volunteer opportunities. Mindfulness meditation on Wednesday, our choirs for children and adults on Thursday, our women's spirituality group and men's consciousness group also on Thursday, our gathering of men on Saturday, and mindfulness meditation and our newcomer welcome gathering next Sunday. Today is our first official day of this year's monthly community days. Think of community days as a sort of enhanced social hour, where we can weave the bonds of community by breaking bread together, joining in fellowship, and participating in community-building activities for all ages. Today, be sure to check out the discussion questions on each table. Details about these and many other activities, including dates, times, and locations, can be found on your on the back of your order of service, in our weekly e-newsletter, or on our website at muuf.org. And we have time to open the mic for announcements from our ministry teams and committees. And here comes one. Here come two.
Hi, I'm Nan Perigo. I'm the president of the board. I wanted to remind everybody that January 31st is going to be our 70th anniversary party, and we are looking for party planners and history buffs. So if you are interested in helping out with planning the party or helping with collecting our history and posting some of that around the building, please contact us at board@muff.org. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, this is Kim Dunn-Mennel. I'm your chair for the service auction, and we are so proud to announce that the kickoff is coming. It's our big party of the service auction, and we're having it on Saturday, November 8th, from 5 to 8. And it's going to be a great night of food, drink, music, and we are announcing, so proud to finally that we have the return of the live auction as well as our silent auction. And for the first time, you'll be able to buy tickets online, as well as we will have our table in Chew Hall. So you will be able to find the link on our website under events. Also, you would be able to find it in our service auction page, which has all your information for both the kickoff party and for entering items. And that is, if you look on our website under the giving section, you'll see that service auction page. So thank you.
I don't know whether this is the place or the time, but I've got a whole bag full of milkweed seeds. So if you want some, let me know. Take them, please.
Hi, I'm Linda DeLapp. Speaking on part of Green Earth Ministry and also the Morristown Citizens Climate Lobby group that I lead. We have a display in the Great Hall, just outside and to the left. In case you're wondering why your electric rates went up in June, there's an explanation. And also, if you have any thoughts about installing some clean energy features like a heat pump, this is the time to do it in order to get a 30% discount. You have to finish by the end of the year to qualify for a tax credit. Thanks.
All right, it's time now for us to bring our time of worship to a close. But although we extinguish our chalice flame, its light will continue to burn in our hearts. And as we go out into our daily lives, I leave you with the words of the Reverend Sam Trumbore. Go forth in simplicity. Find and walk the path that leads to compassion and wisdom, that leads to happiness, peace, and ease. Welcome the stranger and open your heart to a world in need of healing. Be courageous before the forces of hate. Hold and embody a vision of the common good that serves the needs of all people. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.